Okay, so now some questions from followers. Let's start on the titter. Okay, Lucy Povey asked, what's your favorite source or sources of protein? I get like 215% of my protein from beans, like chickpeas, black beans. I love all sorts of beans, and there's so much protein, like too much protein, just beans. Were there any unexpected benefits you found over the years? I think the biggest thing is I just feel so much better. Like my mind feels better, my body feels better, and because of that, I'm able to do more things. I can eat as much as I want, and I don't have to worry about calories or any of that stuff because I'm vegan, and that's nice. Danny Girl asked, what is my favorite vegan junk food? It's amazing, like some of the things that are junk food and candies that are actually vegan. So things like Sour Patch Kids, Airheads, and Twizzlers, like I'll get those once in a blue moon. But I like things like coconut ice cream, you know, dark chocolate peanut butter cups. Do you plan your meals ahead of time, or do you base your meals on what you feel like preparing at the time? I go grocery shopping with meals in mind, and I'll write down like, okay, this week I'm gonna make these 4 meals, and I'm gonna have the things for these sandwiches and these burritos, sort of thing. When the day comes, it's like, what do I feel like for breakfast? What do I feel like for lunch? And that's kind of how I go for it. The next question is your partner vegan? Do you ever have to deal with non-vegan food prep? When we first met, I was vegan and he was vegetarian, but he's definitely like skewed closer to vegan. Sometimes he'll ask me to get shredded cheese for like nachos or whatever, and then he'll just put it on himself. Let's see, have you ever eaten something and found out afterwards that it wasn't vegan? If so, how did you react? There was one time that I had ordered chicken cashew from a Thai place, but I asked for tofu instead of chicken, and they put chicken into it, and it was one of those, like I put it in my mouth and then realized it wasn't tofu and I spit it out. I'm never mad. Like I think I would be mad if someone like somehow tricked me into eating meat, but I think as long as no one's being malicious, I'm not gonna be upset about it. Okay, and then let's go over to Instagram. Life in Prime said, how do you go with eating while traveling, especially in countries that aren't very vegan friendly? I struggled hard in Japan. There are certain countries that are harder than others. I find like if all else fails, you can usually get like bread or fries or potatoes and that sort of stuff. If I know I'm going to a country that I'm not so sure about what people eat there, I'll kind of do my research beforehand. I did bring a bunch of like snacks and stuff with me that lasted like the first 3 days, but it was mostly for the plane rides. Alyssa Swift asked, how much do you spend on groceries each week? Would you say you spend more or less or the same before you became vegan? I went vegan when I was in college, so I was still kind of on the meal plan for my school / living at home. I think there is a misconception that being vegan is very expensive, but it's not. Can't off of the top of my head right now think of like, you know, what a steak costs, but like meat's expensive. Because it's me and Michael, I would say I spend anywhere from like, it depends on the week and like what we're getting, but like $50 to $100 a week. So I don't feel like I spend that much, and I could go spend a lot less, I know, if I needed to. Christina Letland asked, how do you explain to people around you why you are vegan and what it is? Talking about those that don't understand how someone can stop eating animal products, and how do you get over the cravings? I always say like, because meat makes me sick and I just feel better not eating animal products, and that usually satisfies them. You know, people like my dad, he's very like meat and potatoes. There's certain people that are like, you need meat to survive, and at a certain point, like we just come to like a mutual understanding that we don't talk about it. And pick your battles, don't get into arguments with people. Just state why you're vegan, and if that's a good enough answer for them, then that's good. If it doesn't matter. Andrea 123325. She said, when I was researching, I found out that even alcohol can contain animal products. I'm not sure if you drink, but if you do you order? How do you know if it's vegan? I have never heard of that. I don't know if it's like certain drinks that have milk in them, like mixed drinks. I mostly enjoy just drinking wine if I do drink. Never heard of that having animal products in it. SNM3 said, I love chickpeas. Is there anything you do specifically to deal with the gas that comes with them? When I first went vegan, like I got gas hardcore. You can ask my family members, like I could clear a room, stink out a car and all that stuff, but like my body has adjusted to it. So I think there's just that period of time for your body to adjust to certain foods. A Happy Pritkin asks, what is your favorite meal right now? What vegan beauty brands do you like? I feel like switching to vegan cosmetics was harder than switching to vegan food. And I agree with that. Like finding vegan products, like non-food products, is so much harder because you want to find something that's cruelty-free, that doesn't test on animals, that doesn't include animal products. I just love anything Thai. I love curry, I like pad Thai. I've been making this nacho cheese a lot from Fischer. That's so good. And then there's a lot of drugstore brands. If you just do a quick search, there's actually quite a few. I know Elf is one, although I don't like their mascara. Laura Ara asked, what about collagen for bone health and cholesterol for making hormones and mood stability and such? I think and have felt how veganism is so great therapeutically, but do you think it's sustainable? Can you see yourself going another 5 years? Personally, with my reserves, I couldn't do it for very long. I think the thing with doing any diet, regardless of whether you eat meat or don't eat meat, is you have to have a balanced diet. You have to be eating an abundance of different things. And I always like to look at it as make sure you're shopping with a rainbow in mind. You have to balance it out. I don't ever picture myself going to being non-vegan. I plan on being vegan for the rest of my life. When I have a family, I plan on them being vegan as well. And I definitely think it's sustainable. I think you just have to make sure you're eating enough and abundance of things. Mag Mills asked, how has this affected your menstrual cycle? I think it has improved my menstrual cycle. And I know there's this thought that going vegan messes with your hormones and messes with your menstrual cycle, makes you stop ovulating. And I think that isn't so much veganism as it is not getting enough calories and not eating enough. And it goes back to that, making sure you're eating enough and abundance of products. She also asked, do you ever get bored or feel like you're eating the same thing too often? Definitely. I get into ruts, and especially in the winter. And so I find that especially when it gets to springtime, I'm really craving fruits, especially citrus fruits and just fresh vegetables like salads and stuff. So you do get into ruts, but I think you can do that regardless of your diet. It's Bren said, could you talk about supplementing as a vegan and how to know what supplement or which vitamins one may be deficient in? The only thing that vegans can't get from their diet is B12. I use a lot of nutritional yeast, which has B12 in it, and I've tried to take a B12 supplement before, but I always find that it makes me break out. Like it makes me break out really bad. Every now and then I'll like put a couple drops or something of my B12 supplement just because I spent the money on it, but I can't take it consistently. Regardless of your diet, for the supplement thing, unless it's like a specific supplement you're taking to heal a problem, I think you should be able to get all your nutrients from your diet. Nia 2, how do you handle the judgment from others, especially from family and friends who don't understand? I haven't encountered hate because of it or not understanding. Like I said, my dad doesn't get it, but that's okay. For the people that don't understand it, you just kind of have to come to an agreement to disagree. And it goes to just do it for yourself. Don't push it on them. If people want to go vegan or if they want to ask questions about it, and they come to you, then you can answer about them and then you can talk about them. But I never, if I see someone eating meat, I'm like, you really shouldn't eat that. Do you know about all this? Like, To Be Free 777 asks, what are your feelings on soy? Do you consume very much of it or do you notice any effect from eating it if you do? I don't really eat too much soy. I'm not a big fan of like soy milk. If soy milk is the only option at a coffee shop, that's what I'll get. But I try not to eat too much of it, but I don't cut it out. Ebony Aurora asks, what's your favorite meal to make for friends or family that aren't vegan? So every year, and I'm not gonna get to do it this year, I really like to have a birthday dinner and I make all the food and I make everything vegan. I made like this quinoa dish, which was what it was in the picture on my Instagram that I asked the question on. It was like quinoa, sweet potatoes, and that sort of stuff. And then I also have made like black bean sliders, chip dip that I really like. I find that like people are fine with eating vegan things, and there's so many things that are just naturally vegan, like potato dishes, and everyone eats potatoes. If they're not vegan, avoid like the vegan substitutes, tofu or tempeh or any of like the vegan meats, because that creeps non-vegans out. Courtney M. Fultz Taylor asks, how do you think outside the box with meals? Pinterest or cookbooks? 100% Pinterest. I follow a lot of vegan YouTubers on YouTube or Instagram, and sometimes I'll try their recipes. Devin NT asks, how do you hit adequate micronutrients, macronutrients as a vegan? I do meatless days, and on those days I feel like I'm not even eating 1,500 calories, and you need a minimum of 1,300 just for good hormone health. I need a vegan meal plan. It's really hard to just go from, you know, a regular diet and then just eating the same thing but cutting out animal products, you have to add in more things. You're gonna have to try out different recipes. I have never had an issue of getting enough calories. If anything, I get more than enough calories and nutrients and everything. Like I said, I always get too much fiber and protein, all that stuff. Beans, that's a good thing. Anything with beans in it. Gina Bryce asks, when you eat at a restaurant, what is your normal order? Do you miss eggs or milk or cream? No. Depends on the restaurant. Even at restaurants that are like steakhouses, I'll just get side dishes. But I really like anything that is Asian. I like sushi, I like Thai, I like Indian. I'm not a fan of eggs or milk or any of that stuff. Like I didn't even like that when I wasn't vegan. Rainy Day Woman 318 asks, what do you eat when good produce is hard to come by? I would say in the winters, I eat more things like rice and beans, pasta, potatoes. Brittany Yeastman asked, how do you feel? I know I've heard stories of long-term vegans who start experiencing negative things, face major deficiencies, or even start craving or dreaming about meat for the first time in years. I feel absolutely fantastic. I feel better than I ever felt before. I don't feel deficient in anything. I think it just goes back to the issue of not eating enough and that you're eating a variety of things. And I have never dreamed about eating meat or craved it. Meat really grosses me out these days. Don't think I will ever eat it again. Jeanette asked, do you find yourself needing supplements or vitamins in your life since becoming vegan? If so, what do you look for in supplements, vitamins? I'm a vegetarian. I've read that once going vegan or vegetarian, you should start taking vitamin B12, vitamin D, omega-3, etc. I know you're not a nutritionist, but just wondering what your thoughts are on the subject. The only thing that you might have an issue with, like I said, the only thing that vegans can't get from their diet is B12. I really like nutritional yeast. I think, it's a vegan fairy dust. And besides B12, I really think you can get everything from your diet while eating fruits and vegetables. You also need to eat some nuts and seeds and that sort of stuff. Audrey C. Lord said, I've had that urge to stop meat, but feel so much resistance doing it. Like it will be hard because of the way society is wired and organized. Also, my husband would most likely continue eating meat and all the dishes I know have meat. I think there's definitely more acceptance and understanding of people that are vegetarian or vegan. Like I feel like it's growing. It's just a matter of learning. Get on Pinterest and just look up easy vegan meals. Start following some vegan YouTubers. I'll put some of my favorites in the description. There is just so much inspiration and so many recipes out there. There's a lot of great documentaries on like Netflix, meal prep and cooking at home. You can make it where you can add in the meat at the last second. If you make the switch, that's definitely going to influence and inspire your husband. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, and that's fine. I think you should definitely go for it. I think there's a learning curve at first, but once you get the hang of it, you're like, there's so much I can eat. And like I said, I eat so much more now than before. Morg K. Mahoney said, what does your family think of you being vegan? Do they make vegan food for you? Are any of them also vegan? My family is awesome, and also Michael's family is awesome. When I first went vegan, both my brothers and my mom stopped eating meat, but they've all gone back to eating meat, I believe. For Christmas this year, my mom and my brother made all the dishes were vegan except for the turkey or the ham or whatever it was they made. And then Michael's mom for Christmas this past year made a whole bunch of vegan dishes, even though I asked her not to. And so everyone's just super accepting, and like it's been 5 years now, and so people that's just me, and people understand it. Brittany Leigh Glenn said, when you first became vegan, was there backlash from social settings? Was it hard to adjust knowing you couldn't eat things you're used to? The only backlash I ever got was like one time I was at home and my mom was making pasta, and the pasta sauce that she was gonna use had like Parmesan or something like it in, and I said, oh, this is okay, I'll just make my own pasta sauce. I'll just make it from scratch. And she was like more upset because like she was trying, but it wasn't right. And I think that can be frustrating, especially from people that want to support you, because there is a learning curve. And when you first go vegan, you're like, why is there milk in everything? Usually when I'm choosing a restaurant to go eat with someone, we'll go to places where we know there's stuff that everyone can eat. Granel, I'm not pronouncing any of these names right, said, what do you think about eating worms and bugs in general? Just curious. The only time I've ever eaten like worms or bugs was when I studied abroad in Thailand, but I don't have any interest in it. She also asked, are you flexible? I mean, if there's nothing else on the menu, would you eat non-vegan food? Honestly, like, I don't think there's been anywhere I've ever gone where there's not something I could eat, even if it was a side dish or even if it was French fries, enough to tide me over to where I could go home or go somewhere else and eat. I really haven't had much of an issue, and oftentimes it's just a matter of asking for a dish without a certain ingredient, and people are like really nice about it. I think those are all the questions. If I somehow missed yours or didn't include it in the video, I'm sorry. There were a lot of great questions, and that is that. I want to go eat a grapefruit or something now. Let's see, to end this video, I just want to say, kind of reiterate some things I already said. If vegetarianism or veganism is something you're curious about, but you're kind of put off by, like, you think it's expensive, or you think you're not going to be perfect enough at it, or you're not going to make like Instagrammable meals, like, I wish I could just take away the misconceptions about not eating animal products. It's not hard, it's not expensive, and you don't have to be perfect, and your meals don't have to be like gourmet, beautiful dishes. That was a lot. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to FemmeHead for more videos like this. Cheers to being vegan, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!